Yo, it's Ben's here, back with another live stream production session. I hope you've all had a good bank holiday weekend. If you're from the UK, it's been absolutely glorious. This week's been pretty crazy, actually. I've had a lot going on. I don't know if some of you seen on my social media about some of the things that have been happening, but been working on some stuff behind the scenes, getting things going, building a little pipeline of stuff. It's quite exciting. The only thing is, I don't know. It's like just a constant pushing myself out my comfort zone this week, and I know it's like uncomfortable. It's just something that I've got to do. I don't know, some of you may not have known, but I moved house recently to a different area, and since moving to this area, I've just kind of been networking and building up. I don't know, like trying to make friends, I suppose. Especially with like the music scene, going anywhere local and then trying to build up, networking with local people is always a challenge. But it's going really well, and I got an email back from something I've applied for. I don't want to give all the details away yet, but it's really exciting and I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, if you're in the UK and in the Andover area, Hampshire area, then keep an eye out. We've got some wicked stuff in the pipeline. And yeah, so today I thought I've got a tune already selected that we're going to work on. I'm just going to have a crack at it, see what we can do on a live stream, and if you have any questions or comments, then just drop them in the chat, and we can talk through it. But until then, I'm probably just going to speak out loud whilst making some music. That seems to be the theme of my live streams. So the tune I've selected is a tune called What's the Trouble. It's a tune I've done a while ago, and I thought it'd be quite fun to come back on, revisit it, and see if we can do anything on a live stream that's interesting, I suppose. So it's a shit. I've done a lot of versions of it actually, so it's been quite far progressed. But when I went back and listened to it, I was like, there's so much room for things to add into it. So I thought, well, that's perfect for a live stream because I don't need to think too much about what I need to add. We can just go in and just get creative. I'll just show the tune quickly. It's still quite, I say there's loads of versions, but it's still quite early days. There's a lot of stuff to do on it, but I'll just show you quickly. So yeah, you get the idea. It's kind of like jump uppy roller tune. So yeah, I think it could be an interesting one. I'm gonna just start crack on, and if anything interesting comes up, then we can talk about it. If not, then yeah, I'm just gonna speak out loud. So I already opened the track because I spent a lot of time last time just waiting for tracks to load, and it's not too complex considering. I think the first thing I noticed when I was listening to it is the drums sound a bit harsh, a bit splashy, but not in a good way. So I think probably going to start there and see if I can just improve that somehow. So what I'm going to do is use mix drums again, load my preset, and see how that sounds. So here, drums bus, all the drums being routed into here. It's all a bit like, I don't know, it's like a shrill. I don't know if that comes across on YouTube, but I think just taming that will help. Yeah. lots of just high end. So I'm going to quickly tame that, and I think that will make whatever decisions next a lot easier. I think it's this shuffle here that is coming from. You see, it's all a bit, and these hats here. So those combined are just creating a bit too much shrill on the top end. I'm going to bust these and do a bit of processing on these just to make them a bit nicer to listen to. I haven't revisited this track for a while, so there's some small things that will just be quick wins. So you can see now on the analyzer, it's just less noise at the top. If I turn the compressor off, it's all a bit pokey. So that's one thing done, nice and quick. I said I weren't going to do mix downs live, but when I listened back to it, the first thing I needed to do, quickly listen to the drums bus. Here we are. Still a little bit like peaky at the top end, so let's have a look what we can do about that. So this plugin here is like a spectral EQ, so we can take the whole frequency, draw a curve on it, and then it will, anything going over that curve will just, you know, make it a bit more lower. But yeah, big up to Horror for Life locking in. I've got a comment. Hey, it's only taken like 5 streams to get people in the chat. Big up for tuning in. Thanks for locking in. So I can just take this, get rid of that shrill, and hopefully make the drums a bit nicer. And then all the other elements will sort of sit around the drums. So if they're sounding crap, then everything else will. I can't do too much on headphones because what I'll end up doing is completely ruining the track. But I won't do too much more than that. I think the drums are fine for now. Alright, so if we listen to it in context with the whole track, let's have a quick listen. So that's better for now. One thing, there is like at the end of each like, what was that, 16 bars, the fills need to be done, so I think that's quite a fun thing to do. I like doing the fills, so let's see if we can. It's all a bit empty here, it's got like just this empty space in the vocal. Maybe we can do something interesting there, at least like a break or something to change it up a bit.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
Maybe like we could get like an Amen or something, just and do some phasery effect. Would be quite cool. Get one for Splice quickly. Amen, brother. I didn't actually think the original Amen break is on here. I want to do like a little phasey, almost jungly, like effect, which would be quite cool. So if I'm going to take the end because it has that take the 2 bars of Amen break.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
Oh, there you go. I love it when I just put one element in and it just changes things. But I'm going to take it one step further. I have a plugin called Amigo, I think. Is it Amigo? Yeah. This is the plugin. And we can put it in here. Oh god. Basically, this sampler is an emulation of the samplers I used to use back in the day, and someone's basically created a VST of it. So I put the Amen in there, but I want it to stop when I press stop. And maybe not. That's going to take a bit of time to do. Can I just add a phaser? Maybe flanger. I don't know if any of you know the effect I'm trying to go for, but when you hear that like springy Amen break, I think I might have to go back to Amiga for it. That might do. And I'll add a bit of filtering off at the end, just so it doesn't bleed into the drop after it. You can't get much cooler effects with Amigo. Amigo, I don't know. There you go. I will roll with that for now. So,
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
maybe, yeah, that's probably about right. I'm going to duplicate that and put that in the second half as well. So there's 2 distinct noises now before that second drop, so somehow that needs to blur, and we could use effects, reverbs, delays, something interesting to let that tail out into the Amen break.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
I mean, it's got a, if I put that, just maybe the first one.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
Yeah, and maybe we can, so we've got like a phasered Amen break, and I've called it font, for elephant. Plus one up here. Let's add another bus for automation. Do like putting my buses for automation, because it means I can have a bus that processes independently for having loads of like automation effects and stuff. put Infinite on. Not that. Although that actually might be a good plugin. And put a riser, maybe lift off, just something happening. Putting a bit of automation for it. A disabled plugin, and I'm not using it. There we go. Let's see how that sounds. Very nice. And because this Infinite plugin does tend to get quite loud, and that's because the gain's being boosted here. I did talk about this in my last stream. I'm gonna do another video, I think, purely on this. I think this plugin was actually meant for house producers, but it works so well for D&B. It's silly not to use it. And then some effects here. I'm gonna add some noise. So it rises up. I'll do it. And I'm going to reverse it to rise up. Very nice. That's one done. I'll keep that for now, and I'll probably just going to duplicate it when I get some time outside the stream. I may do the second one different, put some different effects or something on it, but just for keeping things moving. Then so we've got the mid drop here, riser. I think this needs to do something too. It's just got kick, same kick pattern. Let's have a listen.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble? Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
I think actually it needs some here. Maybe just like a little saw, just to keep like a bit of noise on this bit before the second drop. So yeah. So basic, but just something in the background to like work with the sub, so you still get an idea of the bass line as it's coming out. So if I play that quickly.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
rise. So please, I don't know if that rise is correct either. Because what happens is you can set a riser and it doesn't rise to the key, and if it's out of key, where I've done it short here, so it's like a bar shorter, so it needs to kind of come up here.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble? Now settle down, son. What's the trouble? Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
I actually really like that. Just plain Sawtooth. It reminds me of an old dance tune. They all just, it could be any dance tune ever, but they all just use Sawtooths, didn't they? But that's nice. And I'm also going to do some sort of automation for that to make that rise off and do something. Big Infinite again. It's just so easy to make transitions. Move it down. I like the 6 AM, it's quite nice. And the downers are just sort of bring the track back down, and then before it drops. So this Sawtooth's going to go down, add noise riser, and kind of build it up a bit more.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble? Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
Yeah, I like that. That sounds wicked. Nice and easy win. That's what I'm going for on streams. I'm trying to not do anything complex. Because when I start doing complex things, I just sat there. I just gormless on the camera. Alright, anyway. That's better. I just keep putting noise from Splice, and I keep telling everyone how it's so easy to manipulate noise, but I'm only ever downloading samples or using a sample from Splice. So I'm going to show actually how you can use noise and how easy it is and effective to create an atmosphere and build up a track just with noise. It's like, I don't know, when I first started production, I was like, need to get rid of noise, can't have noise. And as I've progressed as a producer, noise has become so essential to like every track, and it's such an effective way to fill out the higher frequencies and create those sort of whooshes. They sound great, and it's so simple to make. And if you have Serum 2, they actually have new noise oscillators, which are wicked, and they're really easy to use. They got one called a Geiger counter. So just in this noise section up here, we can pick anything, but Serum 2 comes with some really nice colour options: white, pink, brown and Geiger. And the white noise and pink noise and brown noise are like 101. Everyone's using that to create effects and stuff. Geiger's a bit more, maybe we just try it. So I'm not just going to have 8 bars of just noise. I'm going to have the end, so the rise is going to come up and the noise is going to continue rising it up until the second part of drop. So let's see what it sounds like. I don't even know if you hear it, but you can see up here on the frequency spectrum, the noise. I'll get another one up. And these variables will just sort of change how that sounds. I actually don't think that's the right noise I want. I may come back to that at another point, but I just want good old white noise. Chef's kiss, perfect. So what we're gonna do, some of you might have like remember it from like, I don't know, when you have like a TV, an old TV, and you turn the TV on and it just goes shh, and that is noise. And it's literally every production or every producer will use that sound to create effects. So I'll stop rambling and I'll build it, and then I'll talk about it after. I think that's the quickest way of doing it. So I'll just solo this noise. And for an LFO on, we've got 4 bars to rise with the noise. So I'll set down to 4 bars here, and then over time it's just gonna rise up. See what I mean? It just adds like a hiss, but in context it's very effective. Let's add some stereo width, bit of reverb, maybe a bit of chorus actually as well. You see like instantly, and you can see up here in the spectrum we've got a nice stereo width for it. And we can add a filter, not flanger, just a little filter of some sort, and then we can open it up with resonance to accentuate the build. So same 4-bar LFO. There you go, compressor, multiband. Right, done. I'll leave it as that. But you could take that further. That's just the basic of it. You could take that further and all sorts of crazy shit with it. And now you're here. When you add those 2 rises together, you have the actual rise, and then the noise will disappear off after it. And that will just keep it flowing. Not a massive fan of like when I create like effects and they bleed off into the drop, because I kind of like when the drop hits, I don't want the effects sort of bleeding out to it too much. Sometimes I do, like with delays and things, but for this I want to just build up, drop, cut off, drop, if that makes sense. So we can do a bit more processing on here, just get rid of the low frequencies, and also I'll just use a gain plugin to just sort of cut off the bit, because the reverbs and stuff will just keep going on, and I want it to stop, drop, stop, drop and roll. That's it. Perfect. Alright. And now if you hear that in context.
Now settle down, son. Watch the drop.
don't know if this is loud enough. Needs to be a bit more, hit a bit more harder.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
That will do for that. So that's 2 fills now created with automation. Automation is ultimately essential if you want to do build-ups, rises and that sort of thing. It's always a good idea to bus it and then take it separate from the sound design per bus and then do your automation and stuff over that. That's how I do it in Studio One, and not every DAW is the same. So that's adding a bit more variety to the tune, which is very important. I like that. That sounds really good over that.
What's the trouble? What's the trouble?
Yeah, that's really cool. So I have got some other samples which I prepared earlier. I had a jungle recently somewhere I was going to use. That's quite nice. That's just the same noise pattern but going down. So you'd switch. If I did that here, so to create where I created that downer, back to the noise, but if you had that same, to create that same down noise, all you do is take the same noise you had before and flip the LFO to go down. So you start high, come down, and that should bring it down. See what I mean? It's a bit peaky, but if you change the filter, keep it nice and resonant. Bit too low. That's the thing when you're like creating effects on things, it's just so much like tweaks. I just try to get the basic thing first and then you can do the editing. Just let it filter down the end. You see it's similar to this downlift the sample. That's just so effective. I'm just going to put that in there for now, but that's how you would create the opposite, so you can bring a track down with noise and a bad track up with noise. Never underestimate noise. That's like half the live stream on noise. I'm going to do something else now. So a couple more fills in the main track. I wanted to have a look at the intro here. So it's not really doing anything right now. So if you listen to it, it's just like a kick build up. I don't actually think there's any atmosphere or anything.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
I did hear this build up. Nah, that's too intense. Maybe I'll just keep this for now. Same riser. I'm just being lazy, but I'll come back another point and change that.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble? Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
Cool. Something else I'd add there probably would be some sort of reverse. Maybe we can do a reverb of the noise. Yeah, so what I do is I'm gonna move this over here. Get rolling the sample on the go, and I'll take a sample of the bass, and then we can reverse it. Maybe need to sort of volume out. Maybe a bit more reverb. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to sample it, bounce it out. So we've got the bass here. If I just reverse that. Get out. Really try to use something here. I don't know, it sounds like a wasp. Could probably make it even more mad by adding some panning on it. A wasp going around your ear before the drop. And that click, I need to sort that out before everything. That's really annoying. So I don't know, sometimes you can't get rid of clicks because of the sound design, or if you've added like OTT or a multi-band compressor on it, that's a little click at the beginning. It's really annoying. And I recommend like some sort of D-Click plugin. I don't know where I found this from, but it was free. It's quite good. And it'll just get rid of that click at the beginning. See, now it's gone. Just, you can't overdo this plugin because it will destroy whatever sound you've done, and sometimes you may actually want the click, but in this example I don't. So let's see how let's build that sound in.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble? Now settle down, son. What's the trouble? What's the trouble?
like it needs to like resemble the sound that it's gonna go into, but I don't think it can be the same sound. So I don't know if there's anything I can do here to make that flow a bit better.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
And maybe like it's almost like you're building up suspense before the drop, and you're trying to almost like give the listener a tease of like what's about to come. So using reverse anything, you can just literally take any sample or bounce like something you've worked on, reverse it, and then put in like little reverse fills there. Again, that probably almost as effective as noise, to be honest. So I'm going to take that reverse that we've created from the bass and just a bit of EQ to so almost like it's going to come in and not drown out the main bass. So we can put some panning on it as well, which is quite fun, especially for on headphones. So I'm just going to literally pan it from the left ear. It's going to sound like a fly buzzing across your head. Yeah, perfect. You probably won't hear that unless you're on headphones or stereo. If you're on your phone, you're not going to hear the stereo effects, unfortunately. You have to wait till the final tune's out to hear it.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
A bit more volume.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
And then I think I'm also going to add the noise over here. Actually, where's that downer? So you can just take that downer. I'm going to reverse it. So it kind of has some noise to suck up into the drop, which is here. And maybe it needs like a fill or something before the drop, so where it builds up, it's not just then something happens. I mean, you've got the vocal sample, but
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
I feel like it needs reverse crash, like suck it up into the drop. So I'm gonna quickly just grab a crash from Splice. I have loads of sample packs and stuff, right? But Splice crash, using Splice is just easy. I think I've already got that. Like EDM, like they're just nice and splashy. Take that, reverse it, and that's almost the same as noise, but it's got a bit of reverb and stuff, so mix that in, and that will help suck into the drop.
Son, what's the trouble? Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
Hey, perfect. Right, so because these things are all quite noisy, I'm gonna bust these together, put a bit of pressure on it to stop it being too loud. Noise can get really loud, so what am I doing here? So it's these two noises bust together.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
And that works really well. I think I could literally save that as a sample. and put that on any track ever. It's that effective. It's so simple, but it works so well. So don't like that impact. I've got a better one here. I think somewhere. Yeah. Right then. Easy.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
The only other thing now is, well, it's just a kick build, which is great. Every good D&B track needs a kick build, but it needs something coming up with it. Otherwise, it's just kick. So I have bused the kick to a separate bus, so that can be manipulated separately from the main break. So we've got the hats and snare. Let's move that up there. All going into the drums bus. So give me a second. I just need to work this out. This is a problem. I'll go back to older tracks and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just do a couple of quick things. But each track is like its own little puzzle, and you've got to work out what you're doing in that puzzle. I'll go back, honestly, I'm like, why did I do that? I'll go back to half the tunes. I'm like, what is this? Well, how have I done it? And then I have to spend like 20 minutes deconstructing it because I have no idea what I've done. That happens all the time. So it's just a kick build. Add some highs filtering in to build up. You've got the noise, which is going to sit in the background, build up, and then we could also add break elements to move that intro up. Let me show you. I'm going to keep the kicks out because there's already a kick roll, and when you play a kick and a kick on another one, it sounds really weird. So I'm just going to keep all this here. Snare bus, kick bus, drums bus, kick buses. I need to take the kick. I need to create another bus. This is all going to drums bus. Bus 2, drums bus, drums. Right. Another bus. I'm obsessed with busing stuff. If you haven't noticed. So I'm going to take this. Take everything but not the kick roll. And then I can then apply processing and add effects over the other elements of the track and let the kick do its own thing. But it's not the same kick that I've used in the track. As you can see here, it's separate, and that means I can just have that do its thing, and then I'll process this separately. So if we look on this bus here, and if I solo this, we should hear just the break without the kick, which is perfect, right? So, I mean, this could be literally as simple as adding a filter. This filter, and I'll keep going off on a tangent, but there is no other filter that I've used that when it's in the middle is on an off state. And you'll be like, well, why would you want that? When you apply a filter to a track, you're actually altering the frequencies of the track by just having a filter on. So say if I just picked a random filter, it would, when it's in middle, it wouldn't go to the off state. So this filter here is by the same people who made Serum. And if you see this middle bit, look, it's got this like grey cone. And that means no filtering's being applied. So it automatically bypasses the filter before applying it. And that is really important. especially when you're adding or trying to filter breaks. Because if you put a high pass filter onto your kicks, snares, it will alter the phase of it and it'll make a right mess of it. I know that's complex, yeah. Trust me. Download this plugin. This is the only filter you need for creating filter effects. You don't need anything else. It gets complex, and this keeps your breaks, your basses, subs nice and clean when it's not on, and that is essential in music production. It's something that tripped me up so many times until I found this plugin. You see, like, as I move here, it goes to the on or off state. So what I'm going to do, we've got the kick and the low frequencies building up, and then I'm going to have the snare and the hat sort of come up with it, maybe low pass, so we go from low to high frequency, and I'll create an automation lane here, and we'll build it up into the drop, and I want a bit of a space here before the drop, so the vocals front center, and it's going to drop. It gives a little bit of tension, only one bar, but it gives a little bit of tension before that drop. So if we play it now, should build up. That's so good. It's just the reason that didn't go. So the only weird thing to bear in mind when you do automation, it's the only plugin I've found to do this, but when you want it back to not being on, it has to be in the middle at like 50%. 50% like off, and then at the bottom's a low pass, top is high pass, and you can go all the way from a low pass to a high pass frequency in just like one sweep. It's amazing, absolutely fantastic plugin. Yeah, you see, just simple things like adding noise. The build up's good now. I'm going to leave that, and then I'm going to just see what this first section of the track, where, so this is only 16 bar intro at the moment, and I'm not a fan of 16 bar intros, but when you're building a track, it's a lot easier to just do 16 bar and deal with it later. Don't get bogged down by thinking, oh, I've got to create this, got to create that. Just, you know, when you're creating tracks, just sketch it in and give yourself a bit of space to then put it in. If you use Studio One, I'll show you a really quick trick. So if I wanted to extend this out another 6 bars, I'd have to go into the track and move it all about. But on Studio One, you can actually go in here and do insert silence and loop, and then that will just shift everything over. And honestly, I can't tell you how many times I've had to move the whole track around because I wanted to just get some space in it to add some elements. So I'm going to leave that empty for now. I don't know if I've got everything I need to get that done, so I'm just going to focus on this first bit. But now there's space to put something in there, even if it's just bloody hats, so I can mix it, which probably maybe is a good thing to have. Just take a break and do something to it to like get the track going. That's the key, right? You're trying to engage a listener, get the track going, and then build up from there. Obviously that's just 16 bars of nothing right now. It's not going to do anything, but it's there for now. I'll come back to it. Focus on here. Yes. Do you know what? I had one live stream about I think it was like the third one I did, and it was absolute shambles. Like everything I tried to do, I just couldn't make it work. And it's nice to come on a live stream and make some decisions in front of people, and it actually stick. Like, because I really want to show everybody like what I can do with music production, share some knowledge, and get people engaged with it. And I find myself sometimes I just sit there and I'm like, what am I even doing? And then everything I touch, it just falls apart. It's like the biggest producer trap. So that's good. I don't really have anything to add to that at this point. I think like the snare needs to continue, because when I listen to it, it like drops off. I want to keep that same energy going throughout the build. Travis Sweetly, yo, big up, man. Cheers for tuning in. Yeah, everything's going up on YouTube. It's no pressure, do you know what I mean? I just come on live, ramble, speak to an empty crowd, and yeah, you can go back on the live stream and yeah, pick it apart, find something out of this, hopefully that will inspire you with your production if you're a producer, and if you got questions or comments or anything you want to get covered, just let me know, even if it's drop a chat on here or drop a comment on the live when it's up, and I'll expand on that subject in the next one, because I don't know what people want to hear. So let me know, and I can dive more deeper into any topics you want to hear. If not, I'm just gonna make it up. Big up for tuning in, man.
Now settle down, son. Watch the trouble.
Alright, that's actually come together quite nicely. What's the time? Alright. Got a bit of time still. Maybe I will do a bit of the intro. Not the most exciting thing to watch, to be honest, but essential. And I think maybe like creating intros is like one of the hardest parts of a tune, I think. Like, how do you introduce someone to a tune before they've even heard it? You know, like, the key to it is, you know, if you've created a tune and then you're like, well, put something random at the beginning, it's not going to make sense to anyone. So I'm always looking to pull elements from the track and put it in the intro, and whether that's like mangling it up or like doing something with it, but you're trying to tease the listener to like what they're going to hear. If you have no elements of like the intro of like the main drop, I think it sounds really weird, because you expect one thing and then you get another result. But yeah, man, yeah, go check it out, mate. There's loads of stuff on there. I've got some tutorials, all sorts of stuff. I do lives every Friday. No, not Friday. Every Sunday at 7 o'clock. I'm trying to. I'll put one up after this, so get your notifications on. Come drop in, and yeah, let me know what you think, or drop some comments. So this first 16 bars, let's do something quickly, and then so we've got the drums. We can make the drums fade in somehow, so when the listeners just sort of listening, they don't just get bombarded with just noise to like start with. I'm not a fan of that either. I like to introduce the listener somehow. And this is a bit boring. I don't know what. It's like phase. There's something happening here. probably in the drums effects. What I did earlier. Here we are. What we got? No, maybe not. Something is doing something to the drums. It's just what I was saying earlier. It's so easy to get lost. Like when you're writing lanes of automation to build a track, I just like my finished tracks look like circuit diagrams. Honestly, look, just check. I mean, this isn't really like a finished track, but you can see like already the automation starting to build. All of these things affecting the sound of what's happening in the track. As the track progresses, I'll be hammering in automation. I go crazy on automation, and you see all of these lines are affecting audio. I don't just put something in. I want to make that sound evolve and do something. So, yeah. Yeah, I think I was up. So I'm going to leave it there. Big shout out to everyone who's been tuned into this stream. Don't forget, get your notifications on next Sunday. I'll probably do another hour. I may extend them at some point. I'm just trying to build them up and get things off the ground, but hope you take something away from this that will help inspire your own production, really. So this is What's the Trouble? I'll play it from the top quickly. Like on the intro, that bass needs some reverb to like mold it into the track.
Now settle down, son. What's the trouble?
Even there, maybe that needs a break there, or like a fill. I like that feel. That sounded wicked. Oh, yeah. That saw need to do something there. But yeah, I'm gonna call it there. If you want to see more work on this track, maybe I'll do another live stream on it. But big everyone to locking in, and I'll catch you on the next stream.